Alright, and so the first fish that we have at the first spot is a creek chub. This might be a Dixie Chub. I don't know if we're in range for those or not, but this is a good chance this is a creek chub. But he's a nice breeding colors. Spring is here, so fish are only going to get more colorful from here. The next fish at this spot is a black-banded darter. I see a lot of these guys pretty often, but this is the first time I've seen one from the Kaneka River watershed. Next up we have speckled madtoms. This is another fish that I see a good bit, but I've never really found, this is my first time finding one from the Kaneka River watershed. And so these are a small species of catfish that are native to the United States. They get about 2 or 3 times as big as this, but that's still pretty small for as far as a catfish goes. And to give you guys an idea of how small these catfish are, here is my finger for scale. So yeah, these are really small catfish. And so here's some coastal darters. This is a lifer species for me. But here is a male in really nice breeding colors. There is a female that won't focus in the back. It's that male. And I can't tell if that one in the back is a male or a female. It's got some red dots on the side. So I'm wondering if it's just a young male that hasn't fully colored up yet. But that one is most definitely a female. And is that very colorful male. God, that is just a beautiful darter. Alright, so I finished taking photos of this guy, so it's time for the release. But man, is that a pretty darter. But with this guy, I actually spotted him about like so. And I just noticed those vibrant colors that you can see on its dorsal fins. So I knew I had to get this guy to get photos. Alright, here are some sunfish. I think these are spotted sunfish, but I'm really not sure. I'm not good at identifying these guys. But there's another species for the spot. So I'm at the first spot. This creek has some good vegetation, some really nice sandbars. There's a nice side stream over there that's well oxygenated. But anyway, some of the first finds of the spot is a coastal darter, and this one isn't as colored up as the one from the last spot earlier in this video, but I was really surprised to find these brown darters. I didn't even know that they were in this watershed, honestly. We are in the Kaneka watershed, which is the Escambia River watershed. It's called the Kaneka River in Alabama and the Escambia River in Florida. But these are really cool, colorful darters. I love those red speckling. And this is a lifer species for me, so I am really happy to be able to photograph these. So now it's time for the release. Alright, and so the next big find of the trip are these Flagfin Shiners. I actually came down here for their cousin, the Sailfin Shiner, because they're reported from this creek, but I didn't get to see any of those, but that's okay. This is actually a little bit more colorful species than the Sailfin Shiner. This is the Flagfin Shiner. So right now is the breeding time for a lot of Pteronotropis minnows. So these are all fired up. Really nice colors. And while not a lifer species, it is still always nice to get to photograph these again. But yeah, Flagfin Shiners. Pteronotropis signipinnis. This is only my second time seeing these. So yeah, I am stoked to see these again. Alright, so I'm gonna go release these Flagfin Shiners. And they were actually in this creek right here. I didn't find any in the bigger creek. The main channel is over there. So I'm gonna go put these back in this smaller stream. And it has some nice flow. It's very well oxygenated. And I've noticed that, at least with these, the other time that I saw these Flagfin Shiners, they were in a similar habitat. They were in a very small headwater stream and a steep head ravine. Now this isn't a steep head ravine, but it is a very small, narrow creek with lots of oxygen. I'm gonna just go ahead and release these guys here. I found them a little upstream, but they can make it up there. So one last look at these guys. You can see them in the water right there. And here are black spotted top minnows. These are really common. I see these a lot, but it's another fish species for the spot. And these are members of the killifish family and genus, but I am gonna go ahead and release them. These are blacktail shiners. And the Gulf drainages where we are now might actually be its own species. It's sometimes treated as a subspecies, and other authorities treat it as its very own species. So, yeah. The next species is the pirate perch. And these are pretty unique. They are monotypic, which means that they are the only species in their family and genus. Another cool thing about these guys is, well, an unusual thing about these guys is that their butt is actually not here. It is right below their mouth. So their anus is right there, whereas most fish's butts are down here. But unusual little fact about this fish. And time for the release. They really love to hang around these banks. That's a good way to find these, is by just kicking underneath these banks. And you're sure to turn up some of these guys. And next up we have weed shiners, another very common coastal plain species. You can even find these minnows in portions of the Piedmont, but very common species. And I'm gonna go ahead and release these. And next up is this bullhead. I'm not positive what species this is. I'll throw that in the video once I find out. But these are the catfish that you would commonly catch with a fishing pole. These get pretty big. This is just a juvenile. And you can kind of tell that this is a bullhead because of this tail right here. It kind of comes out and it's not uniformly attached as in the madtoms. And I managed to get another catfish at this spot. Here are some more speckled madtoms, same species that was at the last spot. And you can tell that these are madtoms and not bullheads like the previous species, because the last part of their second dorsal fin, I guess it would technically be their caudal fin, it is uniform. I've seen them get about maybe this big in this species, so they do get bigger than this. These are just juveniles, but they're still a very small species of catfish, especially compared to other North American catfish such as bullheads, blue catfish, flatheads. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and release these. There you go. And here is the sly crayfish, Procambarus versutus. These guys are really common, and they were definitely the most common species in this creek. The only species I've seen in the creek, though I wasn't really expecting to see much considering the watershed that I'm in. Now I see these guys a good bit, but I don't see them too often. They don't live near me, but they are pretty common within their range. They're very common in South Alabama, and you can find them in Florida and a few localities in Georgia also. But this is definitely one of the most common species when you go to South Alabama. And I'm gonna go ahead and let him go. And this is a male, by the way. You can see he's got the gonopods tucked in right there. Lastly is a lamprey, And the only species down here should be the southern brook lamprey. But yeah, these are always cool to see. These are very primitive fish. Unlike other fish and tetrapods, these guys do not have jaws. So they are one of two groups of jawless fishes, the others being hagfishes. It's got a pretty crazy looking mouth. See, I don't know if these guys are super slick and slippery and almost impossible to get a hold of. Let's see here. But yeah, super cool, and I'm gonna go let him back. And there you go. And he's probably gonna just burrow into the sand. That's what they do. Usually if you kick up a lot of sand, you can find these guys. But pretty cool. I have no clue what he's doing. Looks like he's tucked in right there. Maybe he'll be alright. So I saw these burrows next to the creek that I'm at, and I figured why not try to dig some. So I got one out of this burrow, started those, didn't really get anything. But in that one burrow was this guy. This is the jewel mudbug, Lacuna cambarisdalii. I'm pretty stoked to see this species again. I've only photographed this one other time. And this is a species that was described fairly recently, like a year or two ago. Previously, it was confused with the painted hand mudbug, but that species is further north. It lives around the Midwest. And so down here in the south is the new species, this guy, the jewel mudbug. So that is a welcome wrap to the day. So I think today was pretty successful. I got my lifer brown darter, so that was really nice. Got to see the jewel mudbug. That was a really nice wrap for the day. And I'm gonna probably come back down here and look for some of these other Pteronotropis. I have no idea how successful I will be at those because so far I have only found those two Flagfin Shiners. So I haven't found any of my target Pteronotropis yet. So hopefully that will change in the coming days. All right, so we're at a new spot. We're really close to the Escambia River and finally got some Sailfin Shiners. These fish are just drop dead gorgeous. They're not picking up that well on the video because it is getting dark soon, but they have just this incredible orange stripe above the black band across their body. Yeah, I don't know how well that orange stripe is picking up. It doesn't look like it's picking up that well. Trying to get one to come close so y'all can see it. They're just phenomenal fish. That one up there is pretty dark. The things you find in the South, just amazing. So we got some more common species like black banded darters and black spotted top minnows. Took some quick voucher photos and promptly released them. But the next notable find for this spot is another gorgeous coastal darter. This is a male, and the males get the vibrant colors, and just a phenomenal fish. I mean, the colors on this guy are amazing. This will definitely be a favorite of mine. And so for a comparison, this is what a female coastal darter looks like. It's got a little bit of red on the fins and body, but other than that, it's not nearly as colorful as the male. I'm gonna go release this girl and probably call it a day soon.